Hello YouTube, it's Mandak coming at you with another video. So first off, happy Labor Day to everyone in the US. Hope you all had a great day off of not doing labor. But yeah, so over the weekend I had a 3-day weekend. Work gave me off on Labor Day, thank God. But over the weekend I actually was able to go to a few shops. I went to a few stuff before that too. So I have a little haul today I'm going to go over. For anyone who's been following my channel, I do realize I'm a little behind on my Guardians of the Galaxy podcast. I believe I've only gotten up to the third podcast, which is the first collection of Jim Valentino stuff. I have read the whole entirety of Valentino's run. I'm in Michael Gallagher's, Guardians of the Galaxy stuff right now. So I've just been really busy just trying to catch up with work, and Labor Day I was away, so I didn't really have a lot of time to sit down and just make the podcast for that episode. But those are coming. If I don't get to them now, I might just write them all up and then just do them, every few days, just so I can get them all done. I'm dedicated to getting that finished. I can tell you right now, I've enjoyed that whole, all the old Guardian stuff up until this point, even into Gallagher's run after Valentino. So I'm excited to keep talking about it with you guys on my podcast. So that is coming. So I hope to have the second Valentino podcast up by next weekend at the latest. Hopefully I can get them before then, but if not, it's definitely by then. So anyway, to hold you guys over, I know it's been about a week or so since I've done a podcast. I'm going to go through this haul. So I stopped at 2nd and Charles last week, picked up a few things, and then I went to a Books A Million that was at my grandparents' house. I had my dad drive me. And then I stopped there, got a few things. So I have a pretty good stack. I also had got stuff from Amazon. Shout out to Book Outlet 1. They're a vendor that's on Amazon. I buy a lot of stuff from them. They usually have stuff for really cheap prices, and sometimes it dips down really cheap. The only thing that kind of sucks is the shipping cost is a little bit higher than what you would normally see and stuff. So, but it works itself out. It's still cheaper to get it through there than it is to go to a store and buy it. But Book Outlet, definitely check what they have on Amazon if you're looking to get graphic novels for cheap. So yeah, a little mosh podge of stuff here today. So I'm just going to title this video as Labor Day 2018 comic book haul. So just trying to make it a little bit more presentable, I guess. But yeah, we'll get into it. So like I said, I'll start with my single issues like I always do, and we'll get down into the bigger collections. And I have, I think, 2 hardcovers, a standard hardcover and then a oversized hardcover today. So should be fun. So let's get started. So the first stuff, when I went to 2nd and Charles, I dug through their Guardians of the Galaxy back issue stuff, just trying to see if they had anything that I've read. For some reason, I'm kind of weird where I like collecting issues that I've read. Especially if they're cheap, if I can get them for $1 each, I'm gonna buy them because it's just cool to have all the issues to look through in the long box, or to show to people like, hey, this is the Guardians run that I read, and it's pretty cool, instead of just showing them a book on the shelf. So I'll go through them real quick here. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, number 13. Oh, I'm sorry, 15. So this is Protege. A cool character who Valentino kind of used a little bit in his run, but didn't really get as much spotlight, I guess. But he's a cool character. He's pretty powerful. He can basically, if he sees a character in the Marvel Universe using their power, he can duplicate that power. So you can imagine how dangerous he can be. But yeah, so you have Malevolence right here, or Malevolence right here, and then Aletta right over here. So cool issue. Found it for $1. That's why I got it. Next issue we got here is issue 16. So just following up on Protege. So you have the 2 teams, Force and the Guardians, kind of teaming up to try to figure out what's up with Protege's mind and try to make sure they're not doing anything that's going to disturb him, because that would be bad. But anyway, cool issue. Cool seeing all the characters. Replica down here, the scroll right here. She was a character that kind of goes away for a little bit, but then comes back. But yeah, Cool. Again, found it for $1, that's why I picked it up. Next cover, and this is a cover I actually really like. I think it was the back cover of one of the Epic collection, or one of the collections of Valentino's Guardian stuff. I think it was the second volume. It just has like a lineup with the Guardians. So, just your typical Guardians characters here: Vance, Nikki, Charlie 27, and Yondu. So, I think this is actually the story arc where they come back to Earth, and they run into these groups called the Commandeers, and then they're fighting against the Punishers, who are like this band of mercenaries who go around just killing people, and the Commandeers are trying to like take back Earth because Earth is pretty much a wasteland in the 31st century. So, cool. Next issue here, we have the introduction of Talon. I think this is his first appearance. I could be wrong. I think he might have been hinted at in issue 18. But Talon is a cool character. As I've read the Guardian stuff, I've kind of learned more and more about him as we've gone along. First I thought he was just a furry, rip-off of like Sabretooth or something, but turns out he's kind of more than that. He's an Inhuman. He's also the apprentice to Krugar, who is the Sorcerer Supreme of this era, the 31st century. So he's also kind of like the comic relief of the group. So cool character. Not really well known, obviously, but a lot of cool stuff going on with him. So yeah. Next issue, and this is probably one of my favorite Guardians issues, not just because it's shiny, but and this is issue 20. I submitted this for a Students of S.H.I.E.L.D. Cool Cover Friday. Didn't get any likes, but anyway, I really like it. It marks a changing point in the Guardians lineup. Vance Astro for the longest time was encapsulated in a copper suit, which then turned into adamantium. It was used to keep his body protected from the 1,000-year journey he would take into space. But this is really cool because, through some magic stuff that Krugar and Talon, use on Vance, he's able to be reborn and, not have to wear the copper suit anymore. So you kind of see a little bit of an attitude change with him. He's a lot more confident. He's a lot less pouty and, self-conscious about his life and, sad about being gone for 1,000 years and all that stuff. So it's a really cool turning point, I guess, for his character. And, he obviously gets a lot more development as we go along, as I'll discuss in the Guardians podcast. So stay tuned for that. But, yeah, cool cover, cool to have. Next issue, I think I bought like maybe 10 Guardians issues, is Guardians number 21. So this is the return of Rancor. So I think I talked about Rancor in the first Valentino collection. I could be wrong. I think I am wrong. I think it's not until the second one that we get to Rancor. But yeah, so cool stuff here. We get into her coming back, and she actually comes back to Earth to kind of, I think she's coming back to Earth to look for Wolverine. So that's kind of where we run to her and all this stuff. So you see her and the Guardians facing off. So cool stuff. Next issue we have here is Guardians of the Galaxy number 23. Talon versus Rancor. And I don't think Valentino is, at least I don't think he did the cover on this. I don't think he did the art in this either. But just another cool cover to have. Rancor's basically like the female version of Wolverine. But yeah, cool cover rule. And then the last Guardians issue that I have here is the first annual. So, just wrapping up. I think this is actually the fourth part. Yeah, part 4 of the Korvac quest, which is a really cool story of the Guardians going back in time and preventing the birth of Korvac, because he would go on to be crazy and destroy everything and all that stuff. So it's a cool story. You can see here it has a spine. I love these old annuals that have spines on them. I think it's kind of cool how thick they are. But yeah, it's a pretty good story too. because it just goes to show that, like, even though the Guardians try to prevent the birth of Korvac, they're kind of instrumental in how he turns out to be, because of his mom, how she reacts to it. She kind of raises Korvac to despise the Guardians, so that's kind of how that works out. But cool story, cool to have. So those are all my Guardians issues. The next issue I got was, I was just looking through the Books A Million that I was at, had a few like single issue boxes, short boxes. So I just was thumbing through there real quick, and I came across this, and I picked it up because I read it, and that's Hercules, Volume 2, Number 2, I think. Yeah, so Bob Layton back in the 1980s did 2 miniseries with Hercules. They're both really cool. I actually have them in this collection right here, the Hercules Prince of Power, Marvel Premiere Classic. You probably picked that up for cheap online, but yeah, really enjoyed Layton's art, and his writing was pretty good too. I enjoyed his writing as well. So picked this issue up. It's a cool issue to have, you know. So I'll see. I mean, I'll be on the hunt and see if I can find the rest of this for cheap. But if not, it's whatever. I just like to have it. So then the rest of my single issues are Ironman stuff. So I'll get into that. So the first issue I have here is Ironman 26, and this is actually the first issue by Joe Quesada, following the Kurt Busiek and Sean Chen run. Chen is still the artist, obviously, you can see on the cover, but Quesada taking over writing duties. So haven't read this personally. I actually do own the collection now for Quesada's stuff, so I'm gonna have to read that at some point, while the Kurt Busiek run is still fresh in my mind. But I've heard it's really good. I mean, it's only like 6 issues or something, but yeah, so we'll see how this goes. Marvel has actually just recently announced the Iron Man Heroes Reborn complete collections, and the first one is collecting, I think, like the first third or something of Kurt Busiek's run on Iron Man, and I'm curious to see how far that goes, because I don't know if it's going to collect the Kurt Busiek stuff, or is it going to keep going with the complete collections and collect Quesada's, and then more of Iron Man Volume 3, which has previously not been collected before. So I'm curious to see where that goes, but in the meantime, another cool issue to have. I think this is the cover for one of the trades that they sell for that run. So cool. Next issue here is Iron Man 27. So again, going back to the alcoholic themes with Iron Man. I haven't read this, like I said before, so I'm curious to see where this kind of fits in with the whole storyline of this, run with Quesada. Really a cool cover though, just the all white, and then seeing the bottle and him on the ground. It's pretty cool. So pretty good grade too. It's not really yellow at all. And then we get into issue 33, which obviously you can see here Chen has probably left the book, at least the cover at least. So really crazy art going on here. This is early 2000s, so I'm not sure what this story is about, but I'm curious to find out. So yeah, looks like he's fighting against Spider-Woman, Daredevil, Cyclops. I don't know. We'll find out. Next one we get into here, we get into Iron Man number 35. Maximum Security. So looks like the Fantastic Four teaming up with Iron Man. Again, a little cartoony. I don't know who's doing the covers on this, but just a tad cartoony. But it's the cover. We'll see. The story's good. Who cares? So here you go. And the last Iron Man single issue for this stack is Iron Man number 43. And this armor looks pretty crazy. So like I said, never read any of this stuff, but I'm excited to see what this is all about. Yeah. Iron Man 43. I think the highest number issue I have for Iron Man Volume 3 is like 50 something. It's the cover with Iron Man, like with all the code around his head and all that stuff. So cool. Cool to have this. So I'll get into the trades real quick. First trades we have here, let me just put this in order. So like I mentioned last video, I instead of doing the complete collections for Peter David's XFactor, I decided to go the trade paperback route. I currently have, four, 4 trades. I think there's gonna be at least 13. I don't know if it goes up to 14 or 15, but so I have 4 out of 13 trades. I was able to find 2 more this past week, and that is volumes 1 and 2. So volume 1, The Longest Night, and volume 2, Life and Death Matters. So like I said, just trying to branch more out into the XMen universe. I've heard only good things about Peter David's XFactor stuff. Plan to get the XFactor Epic Collection that has his Volume 1 material collected into a thick trade paperback later this year. I think it's like November or December, I think, of this year that's coming out. But in the meantime, just hunting down these. I got these for like $5 each, so that's kind of what my limit is for buying these. I found them for pretty cheap, so and another thing too is these characters I'm not really familiar with at all, so it'd be really cool to just jump in and read about some new characters. But yeah, so we'll see how these go. So volumes 1 and 2, these all look really nice on the shelf. Very similar to like the new X-Men trades, kind of how they look on the shelf. So nice. Alright, and then the next trade we have here is All New, All Different Avengers Volume 3, Civil War. So like I said before, I have the first 2 trades of All New, All Different Avengers. So this is after Secret Wars, the 2015 series, event, whatever you want to call it. So this is the 3rd trade of that ongoing series, and this comes up to Civil War 2. Civil War 2, I think I've read the first issue and wasn't really that good, so I'll have to read it at some point. But yeah, picked this up for $4. wasn't really that expensive. It only collects issues 13 through 15 of All New, All Different Avengers and the first annual. So it's a smaller trade, but I'm really big into Avengers. I really like the concept of this team. Having a bunch of different characters and having different legacy characters, taking different characters taking on the mantle of legacy characters. I think that's a cool idea. So we'll see how the execution is, but yeah, just picking up the trades. Like I said, total I think I've spent so far on all 3 trades maybe like $15, which is a pretty good deal versus having to get the hardcover or whatever. So the next book I got was Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Volume 1. Anchor Points. So I read Fraction's run, really dug that. Kate Bishop was a very had a central role in that whole story. She kind of goes off and does her own thing in this latter half of that run, but I think that's all good stuff to give her kind of development. So I think this was after. Sorry about that noise. I think this was after the Secret Wars that she got her own ongoing, and it was pretty good, I guess, from what people said. So I got this trade, for $6 at Books A Million, so that's a pretty good deal. Just trying to see what her character's all about. Let's see. And it seems like the similar artists are coming back for this. I'm not sure. Not sure these are the same characters that were the same artists that were in Fraction's run, but yeah. So we'll see how it goes with her. I've been building my Hawkeye collection over the past few years, and it's pretty good. I like Hawkeye. He's a cool character. Not just him, but Kate Bishop as well. So the next ones I got, I was able to find these, and I'm surprised I found these for this cheap because I didn't think they were going to be on sale this early, but I bought the first trade of XMen Gold. So this series came out in 2017. So I think it's been out I think this started back in like March or April of 2017. So it's a pretty fairly recent book, and the trade's already on sale for $5. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but this is one of the most recent jumping on points for X-Men fans, so I'm excited to read it. It's a Kitty Pryde led team. I'm a big fan of Kitty Pryde, and really enjoyed her appearances in the original Uncanny X-Men stuff. So really excited to read this and see how she goes with her own team. But yeah, so X-Men Gold, cool team to have. And then I also bought XMen Blue. So this whole concept was based off of, sorry, my computer fell asleep, so let me boot it back up and we'll go from there. Oh my god, I apologize. It always does this. Maybe it's a sign that I'm talking too much. Anyway, so yeah, so back in I think the 90s with the Jim Lee and Claremont run, they actually had to split the team up into two teams, the blue and the yellow and the gold team, I guess, or yellow team, whatever it was. So that's kind of where the inspiration came for these two different titles by colors. And now there's like X-Men Black, I think, and X-Men Red. So they're kind of going a little bit overboard now, I guess, at this point. But yeah, so this is a Jean Grey-led team. You got here Cyclops. I'm assuming that's Beast, Angel. Is that Xavier? No. I have no idea. I'm so far behind. But we'll have to see how this goes. Like I said, the trade was $5, so I'm gonna pick it up and just give it a sample. I don't know if there's any plans for the hardcover to come out or anything like that for this, but yeah, cool to have. Next trade I got was a mini series, I'm assuming, of Kirimura by Nicole Perlman. So this came out in I think 2014. Yeah, Nicole Perlman, looking on the back here, she's the co-screenwriter of Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy. So you can really tell where this is coming from. I think this pretty much spun out of the first movie, kind of giving her own miniseries. That's 5 issues, so, you know, like I said, I'm doing a whole Guardians of the Galaxy marathon now. I'm not sure what I want to do with all these solo series of the characters. I don't know if I want to save them until after I've read all the Guardians proper stuff and then go back and read these, or I want to sprinkle them in. I'll have to see what I want to do about that, but this is just another cool story. You know, Gamora's a pretty interesting character, even dating back to the 70s where she originated, you know, helping out Adam Warlock and her role in the Infinity Watch, Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, etc. So I'm excited to see if they reference any of that stuff in this story, or if it's kind of just a whole new rehash of her origin. We'll see, but cool to have. You know, I paid like $4 for this too, so it wasn't that expensive. So those are all my skinny trades. I'll get into some bigger stuff here. First collection we have up here is a Star Wars Epic collection, which, you know, I don't go out and buy them when they come out and release. I don't go to in-stock trades and pay and buy them online. I'm not actively looking for them. Pretty much if I go to a store and I see them for cheap, I'm going to jump on them. That's probably why I have, at this point now, I have 6 Star Wars Epic collections, which, you know, I'm going to have to sit down and go through these at some point, which I'm excited for. Like, I really dig Star Wars. I really enjoy the idea of Star Wars comics. I think that's awesome to kind of see how the comic world builds on the lore of Star Wars. And this one in particular is really cool because I really dig old 1970s, early 1980s comics. So this is the Star Wars. I'll shut up and show it. This is Star Wars, the newspaper strips, Volume 1. So I'm assuming there's going to be more volumes of this, which is really exciting. This has a bunch of stuff from the published from 79 through 1980. So this is between episode, before episode, after episode 4, but right before episode, right up to and through episode 5. So this was kind of like at the peak of Star Wars fandom, when everyone looked at the first episode 4, New Hope, and was like, shit, this stuff's really good. And then they started making newspaper strips, I'm assuming. So it's really early 70s stuff, or late 70s stuff, I guess, but I'm really excited to read it. It's a lot of mishmash stuff, but it's cool to have. I think this recently came out too, if I'm not mistaken. This might be a really recent release as well, but picked this up for like $9 at Books A Million, which you can't beat for a $40 cover price. It's a pretty good deal. So, yeah. So, again, has Legends on the bottom because none of this is technically canon anymore, but Marvel and Disney are still going to publish it because money. So there's one Epic collection there. Next one I got, this is a little skinnier. I think it's because it's a Dark Horse material, and pages might be a little bit smaller. This is Star Wars The Empire Volume 3, and I know for a fact that this came out pretty recently. I think it's been less than a year since this book came out on in-stock trades or wherever it came out, and it's already on sale. So I have the first volume of the Empire stuff. This is the second volume, so I gotta track down, or this is the third volume, I'm sorry. So I gotta track down the second volume, and then I can probably sit down and read all that together. But I'm not sure how many volumes they're gonna make of these. I don't know how much Dark Horse stuff there still is left to collect, but I'm assuming there's probably a lot. But yeah, and the thing is with these two that I've noticed is that they're collecting these chronologically. So like with the other Marvel Epic collections, right, like Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, all those other Marvel titles, they're collecting those like they're jumping around a little bit to collect stuff that isn't already collected before. This one they're doing, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. So they're collecting these chronologically to basically collect everything that Dark Horse made for Star Wars. So yeah, so this is Volume 3. It says right here, it takes place between episodes 3 and 4. So, chronologically, I'm going to put this before the New Republic and the Rebellion stuff. So, excited to read this. Obviously, anything with Darth Vader in it automatically gets my attention. Darth Vader is probably one of my favorite. Anakin, Darth Vader, is probably one of my favorite characters in the whole Star Wars universe. Just, not because he's at the forefront of everything, but just because of all the stuff that he's gone through and his characterization throughout the years has changed so much. So I'm curious to see, how much of this contains Darth Vader stuff. I'm looking through right now. It kind of has a lot of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, again, pick this up for $9. $40 cover price. So can't beat that. All these Epic collections usually float around $20 online. So if you can get them for $10, I would definitely suggest jumping on it. Next Epic collection, and this one I bought on that vendor I was telling you about, Book Outlet 1 on Amazon. Again, highly recommend go check them out. I found this for about $8, I think, $8-9, which is about how much I paid for these other ones. So it's in our Epic collection. This time it's Thor. So this is pretty early Thor stuff. This is this collects Thor 131 through 153 and Annual number 2. So and what else drew me to this this Epic collection was it's also drawn by Kirby, and also has Lee writing, which is always interesting to read. He always makes it a point to make everything so, I guess, over the top and crazy. So I'm excited to read this. This is besides I think Fantastic Four, I think Kirby and Lee probably had a pretty lengthy run on Thor, if I'm not mistaken. I know Fantastic Four is probably one of their longest runs together before Kirby left to go to DC, but I think Thor was, even going back to Journey into Mystery, I think Thor was a pretty long run between the two of them as well. So I'm excited to read this. Just skimming through here. I should have done this with other books. I apologize. So I can find some cool pages. Just seeing some classic Kirby art. I've read some Kirby stuff. I have some of his Epic collections, but I'm really excited to go back and read some of this other stuff and really get a good heavy dose of Kirby. His 101st birthday was just the other day, so rest in peace, Jack Kirby. So the last two books I have here are hardcovers, and then I'll close out this video. So the first book I found was XMen Magneto Testament. So this one is, I found it in a hardcover, which is even better. I was going to pay for it in a trade anyway either too, but this is a really good story. I've heard it's Magneto growing up during the Holocaust as a young child. As it was revealed, I think in the second omnibus, issue 150, which I actually think I have signed so there by Chris Claremont. That was the first time that Magneto revealed to the X-Men that he was a Holocaust survivor. So that naturally struck a chord with Kitty Pryde, who was fighting against him. But yeah, this kind of goes back and kind of addresses all that and kind of gives you a really in-depth and really historical context to Magneto's upbringing during the Holocaust. So it even says here too, featuring in-depth endnotes and teacher's guides. So this is definitely something that I think teachers have probably used in their classes to kind of use as a teaching tool for the Holocaust. Has a lot of relevant stuff to it. I wish my teacher would have done that. Well, I mean, we read Anne Frank's diary and all that stuff, that whole story. So that was pretty interesting to read about and learn. But this is, obviously a fictional context to all that, but nonetheless, really cool to have. But yeah, so cool. Gonna put that on the shelf pretty soon. And the last book I have here, found this online too for about $8. It was around that price on Amazon for a while, and I didn't buy it, and then it went back up in price. I'm like, shit, probably should have jumped on it when it was that cheap. I saw it go down in price again, and I jumped on it now. So that is Hawkeye Volume 3 by Jeff Lemire. And this is kind of like a quasi follow-up to Matt Fraction's run, because what happened was Matt Fraction left, and then they had a series going on with Hawkeye in 2015, beginning of 2015, and then what happened was Secret Wars happened, and then they rebooted it and did another Hawkeye series. So you can see here on the back it says 2015 All New Hawkeye 2015A, numbers 1 through 5, and then All New Hawkeye 2015B, numbers 1 through 6. So you can see, like, this is the same thing. This is the exact same way as the first Spider-Gwen hardcover. That's how that was collected. It's almost the exact same numbering as well. But it's just Marvel just being stupid and having the Secret Wars event kind of derail all their books, because they basically use Secret Wars as a rebooting point for all their titles. So hence the different names. But yeah, really cool to have. It's technically Volume 3, like I said, because it kind of follows up on the storylines in the first 2 Fraction hardcovers. So it's cool to have. From what I've heard from my friends, it's not really, you don't really have to. It's not really essential reading. You don't have to keep reading this. You don't have to read this after you read Fraction. It's kind of like a nice little, side book to read to accompany Fraction stuff. Jeff Lemire has done some good things, from what I've heard. So we'll see how this goes, but the hardcover just looks really nice to have, and it'll look even nicer up on the shelf. And it's still sealed, so it's a little dinged on the sides, but I don't really care about that, just as long as I can read it and the pages aren't ripped and all that shit. But yeah, so that is my haul for Labor Day. Obviously I wasn't working, I was out there spending, but I hope you guys all had a great weekend spending time with your family. I spent time with my grandparents, my sisters, my parents, so it was really nice to see all them again and hang out with them. But tomorrow starts work again, so but anyway, I hope you guys have a great week, hope you had a great weekend, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.